ANC's disciplinary committee has found that former President Jacob Zuma is guilty of contravening the party's constitution. It found that he prejudiced the integrity of the ANC with his MK alliance. Zuma has 21 days to appeal the decision. Political analyst Dr Ongama Mtimka unpacks this with us. Dr. Mtimka, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think initial reactions hearing of this leaked document that essentially says that the former president is being expelled from the party. Were you surprised? Were you expecting it?
Yeah, good morning to you and your viewers, Naledi. I think that this is a step that the ANC wanted to take even before elections, but didn't want to take an action which would galvanize further supporters of, which would further galvanize the supporters of former President Jacob Zuma to use the action of the party as yet another impetus in order to join his campaign against the ANC. You'd recall that the ANC thought very carefully about how best to handle this issue because it was very much aware that in an election period, to act against former President Jacob Zuma could create further ammunition for him to use in order to campaign against the party. I think it was a wise decision for them not to take that. It was a wise decision for them not to undertake that action at the time because they were quite aware that it could very much be used as a way to decampaign the ANC. And I think that the political environment is better now to undertake that action.
Yeah, the political environment better now to undertake that action, but he does have 21 days to appeal that expulsion. Do you think that he likely will?
Look, the ANC adopting a sort of constitutional rules-based approach to sanctioning former President Zuma for the capital crime of betraying the party in this way is a decent way of doing things. Otherwise, in my view, this is one of those acts which actually deserve a summary dismissal and for any member because it dislodged the ANC from a very important position of dominance in the electoral politics of the country. For President Zuma, I mean, it would be senseless to try and fight to remain a member of the ANC politically because he's chosen to carry out his political aspirations outside of the ANC. The only reason he would want to do that is to perhaps maybe remain relevant at some future stage to be able and eligible to launch some political campaign within the ANC, which at this stage, I don't know what it could be.
Yeah, one wonders what though it means for the former president to no longer be a member of the African National Congress when he has repeatedly stated the MK party, I suppose, seeing it as an extension of the ANC, is there to save the African National Congress. So without that membership, could we possibly be seeing a weaker MK party, considering even the exclusion from the government of national unity?
Look, it depends again on the political choices that the MK party takes. Let's take, for example, if President Zuma in his defense is going to come with the line that he was defending the ANC when he formed the MK party and he was defending the true values of a liberation struggle-oriented organization. The simple question that he would have to ask is, one, would he be willing, if the ANC acceded to his demands, whatever those demands are, let's say for argument's sake, it's to get rid of former President Cyril Ramaphosa, would he, one, as a part of that decision-making or concession, agree to disband MK party, one. Two, would he agree to instruct, to have the MK party available to an ANC that is agreeing with Zuma to take instructions from the ANC And the answer is that both of those scenarios are unforeseeable. So it's not clear how the existence of the MK party then could be beneficial to the ANC to the extent that he would argue for his continued membership in the ANC. If he continues this fight, and I was listening to Tamulo and Lela talking about how they see this process as unfair towards President Zuma. And my interest is, how are you going to build a new organization if you're still fighting for your leader to be a member or to be treated fairly by an organization that the leader has actually betrayed?
Yeah, there's quite a few questions. We talk about the future of the MK party. I wonder, though, about the implications of this decision for the ANC. There's, of course, the concern that there are those within the ANC that are dissatisfied with the route of forming this government of national unity with a party like, for instance, the Democratic Alliance. And if those within the ANC would be aggrieved by the expulsion of Jacob Zuma.
Sure. So here's a challenge about the characterization of the GNU by the forces that like to be seen in the public as leftists. One, they do so because they feel that their power block has been dislodged in the ANC. So their agitations are not about ideological purity as they would like to frame themselves. It's about the loss of power or perceived loss of power, and so less noble than the ideals that they are propagating in public. And it seems to me that the leftist bloc in the ANC has got some amnesia, because one, this faction that they are calling for, the coalition that they are calling for, is the same coalition that deliberately undermines the capacity of the state to protect itself from political interference and geopolitical interference by disbanding the Scorpions and crippling law enforcement institutions in order for them to continue their agenda without the threat that the state could have the capabilities to counter their unfettered political power. Now, that's the reality of the matter. This group is aggrieved because a coalition with the DA brings strangers into the power block and therefore dilutes the power that they have or feel that they have. And as a result of that, it is threatening their very existence. It's got nothing to do with the black agenda. It's got nothing to do with what workers want, because I think that we can all agree that workers in the 21st century, especially in the aftermath of a state capture, or in fact, in continuing versions of state capture, want a public service that is professionalized and is working before you can talk about what ideological posture that public service is pursuing.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
So would you say then that the expulsion of the former president from the ANC is to some extent a consolidation of the power of the current ANC president, Cyril Ramaphosa?
Absolutely it is, but we know, Naledi, that going to the National General Council, this is subject, we are holding the politics of that constant. For now, it is that the president is able to take yet another highly significant political gambit, second only to removing a sitting Secretary General, expelling a former president is equal in terms of the outcomes of his power base in the ANC. But I'm saying this is subject to the politics of succession, because we don't know what dynamics are going to emerge from there. I, for one, would wish that the ANC has got a succession politics that are truly post Mbeki and Zuma conflict and post Ramaphosa conflict. And I think that President Cyril Ramaphosa has got a responsibility and a duty to ensure that, one, the party, for the sake of South Africa, is catapulted into a new political reality, in terms of which they put an end to the vindictive battles that have been there among these liberation fighter groups, so that the politics going to the 2027 conference is about the future. And to be about the future is about which leaders of the party who have been, who've gained credibility in the post-apartheid period should be positioned to lead the party going forward. I think so that the liberation politics have been debilitating for South Africa, and the ANC cannot survive another backward-looking succession politics, in my view.
Very interesting. Dr. Ongama Mtimka, an absolute pleasure speaking to you, and thank you so much for your time this morning. He is, of course, a political analyst speaking to us there via Zoom. Okay.